We're going to continue our forum tonight, and for the final hour, we're going to hear from the candidates running for mayor of Marion. Joining us this evening is Mayor Nick Abouasley, as well as challenger Mary Lou Pazur. We will continue to accept questions from the audience, similar to the first hour. Questions will be presented on a rotating basis. Responses will be limited to 90 seconds, and we ask that you pay attention to our time cards at the front of the room to help us move through as many questions as possible. And I'm just going to go back and forth. I'm just going to go back and forth if that's okay. So we're going to begin very similarly to last hour by asking each of you to introduce yourself and provide us with a little background as to why you believe you're the best candidate to serve the city of Marion as mayor. And we will begin with Mayor Abouasley.
Good evening. Thanks to everyone for being here. Thank you for hosting this event to the Chamber and Metco. And thank you, Lydia, for being the moderator. I'm Nick Abouasley. I grew up in Marion. I moved to Marion when I was 8 years old. Growing up here, I learned to really appreciate the community, learned to really love the community. And when I came back after going away after college for a couple of years, I came back. And ever since I returned, I've been as active as they'll let me be in Marion and trying to make positive things happen. I have served in many, many different roles in the community, all trying to generate momentum, work towards a vision of a prosperous Marion, and have used every bit of energy I have to do that. I think my record speaks for itself in the last 4 years. I have worked very hard. I haven't squandered a single opportunity to promote Marion, to help move it forward. I have promoted improvement within the city, improvement within our city organization and the city at large, of encouraging us to expect better for ourselves and to ask for the best for Marion, because we deserve that. Our Marion residents deserve the best. Thank you.
Mary Lou?
You ready? Okay, I am Mary Lou Pazur, and I am seeking the job of mayor. 80 years ago, my uncle was mayor, and I have to follow in the family footsteps. I have spent 70 years in public service. Now, you have to understand there are a lot of overlapping years in there. Otherwise I wouldn't be here, right? There are two things that I really, really care about on this, for this office. One is the transparency of the city council and the city. And secondly, the amount of debt that has been accrued. Looking out at the audience, there are an awful lot of people who have never lived in anything but a credit card situation. And I think this makes a big difference, because my parents didn't buy anything until they could pay it for cash. They never ran credit cards. And it makes a big difference as to things like interest and how that is not being utilized properly. I have a military background, I have a teaching background, I have a law enforcement background, and I know that I'm going to go over, but I have an anecdote that I have to tell Nick. When I was at the Gazette, Todd Dorman said, "Let me ask you a question." He said, "Why do you want to run?" And I said, "Well, poor Nick." I said, "Gee whiz, he's got a job, he's got 3 kids." And he kind of looks, he said, "Well, you people were so nice to each other." I said, "We made a pact before that we would be kind, and we followed through." He said, "I've never seen that before."
So, I'm going to go back to you, Nick. What do you think the core responsibilities of being mayor are?
Well, there are the obvious responsibilities of leading the city council, leading the meetings. I think on that level, I have made a tremendous impact on just that on that level alone in terms of the professionalism that is portrayed in our meetings, the openness, the transparency. I know that word is thrown out a lot. We are very transparent. Everything is done in the open, in the public eye, and the professional level of those meetings that gives people confidence in the decision-making has increased tremendously. The other role of the mayor, one of the other roles is to set the tone and the atmosphere of how we're going to do business as a city. I have pushed our city staff to be much more customer service oriented, much more open. I follow through with every question I get from a citizen and make sure that it's answered by someone, that it's addressed and dealt with in a proper way. And the mayor, on another level, is the most visible person in the community, the representative of the community, the biggest ambassador for the community. And as I said, I have not squandered a single minute of promoting Marion, of being out in the region and across the state trying to promote business here, promote Marion as a great place to live and do business. And the mayor also encourages people to participate and be engaged. It inspires people to be part of the decision-making, be part of making Marion a better place. So those are the roles that I've played in the last 4 years and actually the last 20 years. So.
Thank you, Nick. Mary Lou?
The responsibilities of mayor basically is to represent the city of Marion and to do this in a positive way, to chair the council meetings. And I kind of I hesitate to bring this up, but it's I have no attachments in the city. I own no property. I except the house I live in, but I have no reason to abstain from anything. And I guess the problem I have with abstentions is that maybe you might know something about something that you have to abstain from, and you can't share it so that other people would have the information. And providing leadership on key issues like justifying the numerous studies that go on that are very costly. The 2013 electrical for Marion, the electricity company for Marion that was done, and the plasma arc cost that all of a sudden everything disappeared. So I think that it would be very important also is to keep an eye on that.
Okay. So Nick, would you like to
Could I respond to that?
reply?
I think it's warranted. This comes up over and over again. I'm asked how much property I own in Marion. We'll make it clear. I own my house and an interest in one building in Uptown Marion. That is what I own, and they both have mortgages on them. I'm not sure why that keeps coming up. The other question is my abstentions. I do hold myself to a very high ethical standard. It's required by my legal ethics. It's required by my personal ethics. It's required by our city ethics policy. And I am one person. Well, the mayor's vote is 1 out of 7 votes on the council. Decisions are made as a group. And not one, in 7 years on the council, not one of those abstentions has impacted the outcome of a measure or a vote. And I would prefer to be ethical. I think most citizens are proud to have an ethical mayor. That's what we expect from our public leaders. And I would add that the benefit that I have brought to the city has far outweighed those abstentions. As I said, it's an important part of the job, but it's one part of my job. I'm also out there guiding the vision of this city, inspiring people to come together around that vision, and encouraging people to work collaboratively to meet the goals that we have as a community. And that's also a big part of my job.
Thank you. So I think what we'll do is, in the event that someone would like to rebut a reply, we'll allow an additional 30 seconds for that individual going forward to my timekeeper.
Thank you.
Is that is that okay? So if you would like to respond after someone else has, just let me know and we'll have a rebuttal, okay? All right. If you could change one perception or shift the dynamic of one thing in Marion, what would it be and how would you start doing that? Mary Lou, I'm going to ask you to answer that one first. If you could change one perception or shift the dynamic of one thing in Marion, what would it be and how would you start doing that?
Me? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, better advanced planning would be the shift that I would encourage, letting the council in on upcoming projects, such as ownership of land before a project gets started, so that this problem on the East End roundabout would not be occurring. I understand that there are owners of land that are hesitant about selling. Also, with the Y building, it's starting to really bother me that Marion has invested so much. There were 7 people or 7 entities initially that were involved in that, and all have pulled out except the city of Marion, which should have also said, well, you know, I don't think we need to be part of this and go halvesies with Cedar Rapids. It bothers me that the memberships are not there for the city of Marion, which is paying literally half, and to make sure that there is the remainder for the building to be in escrow or at least kept aside so that it could be paid off, not entirely by Marion.
Can I respond to that one? Or?
Nick, why don't you answer the question, and then if you would like to rebut the concern, okay?
I just wanted to clear something
Yep.
up. Okay.
Okay. So if you could change one perception or shifted the dynamic of one thing in Marion, what would it be, and how would you start doing that?
There are, probably several things that I would change. One that always sort of bothers me is we have a perceived north-south divide in Marion, and there's this sort of perception of North Marion gets everything, South Marion, and I just don't buy into that. I don't do anything in my role that legitimizes that perception, and I actually work to dispel that perception. Because we're all one community, and the council and the city staff care about every corner of this community. There are positive things happening in every community. Whatever issues might exist in one part of the community exist in the rest of the community, and so we're one team, we're one community, and I really work hard to promote that line of thinking, because I think there are people that may profit not financially, but personally from perpetuating that kind of thinking and dividing people, and we need to stop listening to people who try to divide us as a community and come together. We're all on the same team. We may not agree on everything or how to get to the end goal, but we all have the same goal of wanting Marion to be the best place to live and to raise a family and to grow a business. And we can have disagreements about things, and we can have discussions on how to get there, but we are one team. So that's one thing that's always bothered me, and I would change that if I could, and I do work hard every day to change that.
Mayor Nick, you wanted to respond to
Yes, on the why question, and I'll make this very quick. The Imagine 8 process a number of years ago resulted in eight projects for the community to work on, and that engaged thousands of people in coming up with those ideas. The number one project was a community recreation center. So rather than the city investing in a $20 million recreation center on our own and having to run it and have the expenses of running it going forward, we decided to partner with the YMCA. That's what they do. That's their business. We're investing $7.3 million into their facility, allow them to run it going forward. and this is what they do best. It's much more economical rather than to duplicate facilities in the community, because they needed a new facility, we wanted a facility. And Marion residents do have benefits such as discounts, and we don't have to have a membership to use it. You can go in there one time a year and buy a day pass and use it. So there are benefits to the Marion community, and I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick, I'm going to go right back to you. Where are your favorite places to spend time in Marion?
Oh, lots of places. I live just south of this park, and it's a convenient walk for me to come into the park and enjoy this amazing it's become a regional amenity and a regional attraction. There's, during the summer, there are always things going on the stage here at the amphitheater, the walking trails. When my kids were younger, they played on the playground, and now we have a new playground over there. The flower gardens, of course, everything. So this is one of my favorite places to spend time. I also love to spend time in Uptown. It's become a destination for culture and entertainment and dining and shopping. Contrary to what some people say, the storefronts are getting filled up. It's hopping. If you go any night of the week, you drive through Uptown, it's active. It's what we had always hoped it would be. And it's coming alive. So I do spend time in Uptown Marion. I look for any opportunity I can to shop in Marion. Yeah, I guess that's it. So, thank you.
Mary Lou, where do you like to spend time in our city?
Well, I'll tell you, I became my mother's caregiver 13 years ago. And that became my favorite place to be because I didn't really dare leave home all that much and did not run for council because of that after 20 years in. But now it's gotten to the point where I'm trying to open all these boxes, right? Everything's Christmas again. Other than that, I don't spend a lot of time out and about because I'm still trying to unpack a house. So that's my favorite place right now.
Could I supplement my answer? I had just one more thought. Is that okay? I spend a lot of time in the schools too. Mm-hmm. Any opportunity, and they do invite me a lot to come in and read to kids, to talk to kids about whatever topic, about what I do. I enjoy spending time in the schools. I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Great.
Now, am I building up time that I can rebut big
you
time
absolutely. All you have to tell me is that you want another opportunity to speak, and I promise you.
Well,
I'm keeping ticks over here.
Lydia, you're a good...
So I'm going to start with Nick. Do you have a vision for Marion's future? What do you want Marion to look like in 5, 10, or 20 years from now? What's your vision for Marion's future?
Well, it's very simple. My vision for Marion's future is to build a city that is open, that is inclusive, where people feel valued, and where everyone can have the opportunities to achieve their goals in their lives, whatever goals they have for themselves and for their families, whether it's in business, whether it's in life, whether it's education for their kids, whether it's safe neighborhoods, whether it's culture and entertainment, things to do in the community, where people can really have an unequaled quality of life. I'm very open about that. That's kind of become something that I talk about all the time. That's my goal, is for a city that provides the services that people desire and a high quality of life with the amenities and the services and the opportunities for them, whatever they may be, to be able to enjoy their lives and achieve the goals they have for themselves, their business, and their family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says we're only going to be here for 12 years, so let's cut that off.
Okay, so 5, 10, or 12 years.
Oh, okay. What was the question again?
Let me give it to you. Do you have a vision for Marion's future? What do you want Marion to look like in 5, 10, or in this case, 12 years?
Marion used to have a full 7th Avenue of businesses. If you needed hardware, there were 2 hardware stores. If you needed men's clothing, there was a good men's clothing store. A couple women's clothing stores, a shoe store, 4 or 5 supermarkets. Well, not supermarkets at that time; they were grocery stores. But I would like to see something go back to that, so that you don't have to leave town to find what a hardware store would provide. We've lost a great many of the possibilities of shopping in Uptown Marion. And another thing, and they did it, I think, on the branding thing, was that the stores, if they remained open longer, they would have more business. But we need more stores of different types rather than the bars and restaurants that are there. It's fine for, a social outing, but I think that maybe a little more practicality would be good.
Thank you. Nick, I'm going to go back to you. What do you believe are the city's top priorities as it relates to planning for the future?
Well, there are many competing priorities, of course, but of course, having the infrastructure to support the growth, that's one priority. Another priority is creating an environment where businesses can thrive, and that is an important thing, because we need the businesses, first of all, to serve our community and to provide the jobs that people want. And very importantly, it's something that a lot of people don't think about, is quality of life issues and placemaking projects, such as this park, such as the alley, such as all parks and trails. People sometimes wonder why we're spending so much energy and time and money on these things. It's because young people today, they choose where they want to live, and then they look for a job. They're not following their job. What they do for work is what they do between weekends, and their weekends are just as important. And so we have to worry about being able to attract people to live in this community. We heard today from some businesses that having the talent that they need is becoming very difficult. Some businesses are really having a difficult time finding employees. And so we have to make this a place where people have a perception of it, that it's a great place to live, that there are things for them to do. And so we have to work on quality of life issues, on amenities. They're just as important as everything else.
Thank you. Mary Lou, what do you believe are the city's top priorities as relates to planning for the future?
Well, to establish a secure economic base. And Nick, you mentioned about the young people. Well, there's some older people around also that for some reason seem to be left out. And one of the things that I would really like to push for are more mobility possibilities for the retireds and the older people. There are the bicycle boulevards now, and I don't know how many people really do the trails, because, well, you have to drive to get to a trail, and why not? Anyway, but the mobility for all ages, and then public safety. There seems to be problems with that. For years, we've been known as the safest city in Iowa, and there have been some less than tasty situations occurring lately. And pay the debt down. This interest rate is going, and I don't care if it's the smallest interest rate ever. Money is not free, so therefore that has to be paid down. And improve the water quality. Oh, please, improve. I remember when Cedar Rapids people came to Marion to get their water.
Mary Lou, I'm going to start with you. This is a question from the audience. So can you talk about your circle of influence? how can or will you use your circle of influence to move the city of Marion forward?
Well, actually, if you come to a circle of influence, I have probably 3,000, 4,000 former students in Marion, plus their parents, who were very trusting of allowing their kids to end up doing a lot of things in class that the kids never thought they could do. I am very close with the people I went to high school with, and that, once again, that's the older group. The younger, no, I don't have the contact with them that I used to. I have gone to Lynn March on the reading days and read stories, but once again, like I said, I'm still trying to unload my mother's house.
Thank you. So Nick, can you talk about your circle of influence and how can or will you use your circle of influence to move the city of Marion forward?
Again, I think my record over the last 7 years of service on council speaks for itself in terms of, in that regard. But I grew up in this community. I have deep relationships with people throughout the community. I've spent a lifetime building relationships in this community. Beyond that, I've worked in Cedar Rapids and in the corridor for almost my entire career. I interact daily with business leaders and political leaders throughout the region, and have built credibility with all those people. And credibility with the leadership of a community makes all the difference, and it gives investors who are going to spend millions of dollars the confidence to come and invest in your community. And those relationships, those contacts that I have, I think have come to play. And I am out promoting Marion every day in this community, asking people to give Marion a chance. I invite developers and business people here. I give them tours of the community. I show them what the opportunities are. I work very hard to promote Marion, and having those relationships with people is just that much of a head start, and gives me that much of an advantage in terms of already having a relationship with the potential investors and business people. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Thank you. So Nick, I'm going to start this one with you. Marion's brand promise is to be the best place in Iowa to raise a family and grow a business. What does that look like to you, and how does a city support that?
Well, I think that I have made that my mantra over the last 4 years, and if anyone has been around me at all, they would know that. But what it means to me is that it's a city that, in terms of, as I said before, families and people, giving everyone the opportunity to have the best quality of life, the quality of life they want for themselves, having those opportunities here. For businesses, it's creating an environment where businesses can thrive and provide the services for the community and the jobs that the community wants. It's a place where people can meet whatever goals they have for themselves and their businesses. We as a city promote that by expecting the best from ourselves, by ourselves offering the best for our city, whether we're a city employee or a resident or a business. We all give our best to our city, and we do our best for the city and for its advancement. And we expect the best from developers and people wanting to do business here. We don't have to settle for good enough. And when people come to our council and want to do a project, I think people will attest to it. That one of the questions I always ask them is this your best project? Are you giving Marion your best, or just what's good enough, and then going somewhere else and giving them your best? We need to realize as a community that we deserve the best, and to believe in ourselves, and to ask for it, and to expect it from ourselves and from others. Thank you.
Mary Lou, Marion's brand promise is to be the best place in Iowa to raise a family and grow a business. What does that look like to you, and how does the city support that?
Well, once again, it comes to paying down debt. Uh, Just as an example, June 1st is the date that the payment towards the principal on bonds is due. And this last June, $4,365,000 was paid towards that principal. The interest on this was $1,748,300, $1,748,300. Now, December 1st requires another interest payment. There are so many things that could be taken care of, but the interest rates are going to kill us, that's all. And there's not going to be a really good quality of life if you're busy paying off these debts. That's what I hear from people. That's it.
Thank you, Mary Lou. And Mary Lou, I'm going to come right back at you with one more question. What do you want the city to be known for? What do you want the city of Marion to be known for?
Well, to be a fair city, to be an honest city, to be a city with integrity, to be a nice middle class, Midwestern city that, who was the artist that painted these things, you know? Well, anyway, just, I don't know. Nobody famous has been born here, except a couple people, I guess. But I can't answer that question. I really, at this point, I don't know. It would be nice if it was just a friendly, well-balanced, one school district city.
Okay, thank you. Nick, what do you want the city to be known for?
I want the city to be known as the best small city in the United States. I think we can achieve that. We've received 22 awards in the last 4 years, some of them national. We have received national recognition for things that we're doing in quality of life and placemaking, in livability, as a place for people to retire, as a place for people to raise families. All across the board, we've received recognition on a statewide and national basis. And I think Marion can be recognized as one of the best places in America for people to live, raise a family, and achieve an amazing quality of life.
Great, thank you. Nick, where can the city of Marion do better or reach higher?
Well, I think we've made tremendous progress in this, but we can always do better, is customer service. Having that orientation as a city organization that we are here to serve people's needs, that we exist not for our own existence as a city, but to serve people's needs and to help them solve problems. And I'm very sincere about that, and every day in my role, I work hard at that, at pushing that attitude with our city organization, and making it clear to the residents. I've spent thousands of hours in the last 4 years meeting with people, anyone that has an issue, anyone that emails me or calls me, I try to return that communication within the same day. I have 1, 2, 3 coffee meetings every day with people, with business people, with residents, and I help them solve issues. I'm kind of trained to do that as a lawyer, to help find solutions for issues. And I enjoy interacting with people. But as a city, I think we can always do better at that, although we have made tremendous progress, as I said. Another thing is to go back to we can be better promoters of ourselves. And now that this was touched upon yesterday at the luncheon for the chamber, was that now that we have Prospect Meadows and tourists coming through town, we have to be better about selling our community, about all of us being ambassadors for our community, and looking for the best in our community and in each other, and promoting that to the people coming from outside to showcase what we have to offer here and what a great community we have.
Thank you. Mary Lou, what can the city do to be better or reach higher?
Well, first of all, Norman Rockwell was who I was trying to think of. Okay, I'm sorry, one more time.
What can the city of Marion do better or reach higher?
First of all, lower the debt rate. That really bothers me, and I guess maybe it's because I was born at the end of the Depression and saw what happened to a lot of families that could not make it. That's all. And I know that most of the people that live in Marion now are of the credit card mentality. And it's there's too much charging and not enough paying off, and it's all going to come back and bite you in the bottom, I hate to tell you. Transparency as far as the issues are concerned. There's too much secrecy that goes on. When a group asks for maybe 2 council members to meet at a time to avoid a quorum, and you don't know if you are going to be told the same thing that another group is going to be told, this bothers me awfully. And then suggestions for improving the needs of the community, not just what they want. There are so many needs that are not met.
No.
Okay. Well, because it's very important, because that's kind of a dangerous charge to make in terms of the transparency. I just want it clear that there are no decisions made outside of council meetings in terms of how people are going to vote on something or how something is going to be decided. That all happens in public at the council meetings. We have worked very hard to be as transparent as we can be and as accessible to people as we can be. We have office hours every week that I implemented 4 years ago. We are everywhere out in the community. People can meet with us, and everything is an open book. There are certain things by law we can't divulge, but other than that, everything is open, and all decisions are made at council meetings in the public eye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mary Lou, I'm going to start with you. This is a question from our audience. Since you've both spent time in the city council, tell us about a time when you hit a home run, when a project you were very proud to be a part of came true, and what was your role in that project?
Well, I've pretty much been a team player, and it was never something that I could look forward to accepting kudos for. Probably the accepting Falks Woods into the park system. Elizabeth Berry and Allie Smith and their 2 nieces were the ones who donated their woods on Indian Creek on the other side of Tama Street on the Cedar Rapids side. And I was chosen to accept this piece of property. And at Elizabeth Berry's funeral, or at her visitation, her sister Allie Smith, who was they're just wonderful women, came up to me and she said, "How's our park?" And I said, "I'm looking after it." And she said, "Good luck," because there have been a lot of developers who've been very interested in that piece of property. Like I said, I'm basically a team player. I want what's best for Marion. This is home. I mean, I was born here, school, taught, lived here when I was with the sheriff's department, the whole thing. So I'm very invested in Marion.
Thank you. Wow.
Oh,
Move around. Okay, we're moving. It's not California. warn you, no blackouts.
We had a fire drill at it. You said we
Hold,
would-
please.
Yeah, exactly.
I was moving. Where's the sensor? In front?
Yeah, I think everything's
We've
dead.
still got, we've got sound.
No. Yeah.
So Nick, I'm going to go ahead and let you, while we work out our technical difficulties, since you've both been on city council, tell us about a time when you hit a home run and the project you were a part of, and what was your role? Thank you to whomever turned on the lights.
Okay.
Tom Trahern. Okay.
There are lots of things I'm proud of in my service on council and in my 20 years of being involved in leadership in this community. But the most recent one that comes to mind, and I really am proud of this because I really believe strongly that as a community we have to preserve our history and we have to care about our historical buildings. We have to know where we've been to know where we're going, and I think that the history is important to Marion residents, and it's part of our story, and it's what gives our community special character. We have two brick houses from the mid 1800s that are on the lot across from the library. The assumption was that they would need to be torn down to make way for the project coming on that block. I was very fortunate to be able to convince the city council to put a hold on the plans to demolish those buildings and to see if there's a potential that they would be moved. No one knew whether or not that would be possible, but we had time, and so we put out a request for proposals, and lo and behold, someone did come forward, offered to take those buildings and to move them with a little bit of city assistance, which I think was very worthwhile. And now we're going to see those brick houses made with Marion bricks manufactured in Marion, moved and given new life, and to be part of a new development that breathes some new life into an older neighborhood just west of downtown. So I'm very proud of that, and the role I had in making that happen.
Great, thank you. Nick, I'm going to come right back at you with the question. What characteristics of our community should we capitalize on to retain and attract new businesses?
The character of our community, the small town community feel that we have, the strong community we have with each other. The people here are amazing. Those are all important for businesses to consider. We have two excellent school systems that provide great education, and those are an attractor for people to come and live here. Our uptown is a vibrant city center that has wonderful neighborhoods all around it within walking distance. A lot of downtowns don't have that. So for a business to locate in uptown, they already have people within walking distance right there. There are 60,000 people that live within 3 miles of uptown Marion. And so for a business to locate in Marion and to serve that population, again, is an attractive thing. We have amazing collaboration. Was that my time? Oh, we have amazing collaboration, which I think doesn't exist in a lot of cities, and a lot of cities look at us and they're kind of jealous of it. That we have the city organization, the economic development groups, the business community, they collaborate very well together, and I think that's why we're able to achieve things that a lot of cities our size can't achieve, is because we have amazing collaboration with the schools, the business community, the economic development folks, the city. We collaborate on every project, all of us together, to move our city forward and make great things happen for this city. And I think for a business coming in to have that kind of support, I see the support that happens just with the uptown businesses, how they all support each other and refer business to each other, and they're the biggest cheerleaders for each other. You don't see that in a lot of communities, and that's really a unique asset.
Great, thank you. Mary Lou, what unique characteristics of our community should we capitalize on to retain and attract new businesses to Marion?
Repeat that, please.
You bet. What unique characteristics of our community should we capitalize on to retain and attract businesses to Marion?
I hate to sound negative, but right now there are some businesses in Marion that are old businesses that are not being treated very well. And I fear that new potential businesses might go to those folks and say, well, what's the deal with people? Am I going to be treated well by the city council, by the Chamber of Commerce, by the various business organizations? And they're going to get a negative answer. So basically, we have to clean this up. And I can think of a couple companies right now that are hurting because of this. And it's too bad because the people in Marion are eager. They are willing to investigate a new business. But if the new business is not happy about what's going to happen to them, if they don't, they won't succeed. Like I said, I hate to be negative, but that's the reality.
Thank you. So, Mary Lou, do you think our Main Street downtown, what we know as Uptown, is successful and healthy? And what can council do to ensure local Main Street businesses' success? So I'll repeat that one more time. Do you think our Main Street, you got that one?
I got you. The problem is what had been Main Street is no longer there. It was all transferred to 6th Avenue, and how many years ago were we promised the boutiques, the little specialty shops, the not big box stores and all this? And the one business that was there is for sale. Of course, now another restaurant has opened up, but Kettle House is for sale, or they're going to close. And not only that, but where is this new place, 52-unit affordable housing going? On 6th Avenue. Now, wait a minute. 6th Avenue is considered Marion's answer to LA's Rodeo Drive, and it's not going to happen.
So, I sure will. Do you think our Main Street downtown, what we know as Uptown Marion, is successful and healthy? And what can council do to ensure local Main Street business success?
Our Uptown is healthy. I remember years ago when we had the chocolate walk or the events downtown. I would stand there and say, I wish it was like this every day. When you'd see hundreds of people down there for an event, and you know what? It's happening. You go down there on any night of the week, and it's active and it's vibrant, and there's a good vibe down there. There are businesses that are thriving down there, and people. It's becoming a destination for dining, culture, and entertainment. You can do a night out in Marion. You never used to be able to do that 5 years ago. You can go to the theater, go out to eat, go out and get a drink. You can shop. Downtown is thriving. Retail has become difficult. Entire malls are closing across the country, and to see these businesses, these niche businesses, holding their own and to make it in Uptown Marion is really awesome to see. And the city council can what we're doing is we're building out 6th Avenue so that we could diffuse the traffic off of 7th Avenue so it's not such a highway, so that 7th Avenue is more walkable so people can cross the street. So it gives people another option to get around downtown if they don't want to be in the downtown. That's why we're building out 6th Avenue. And the Kettle House is not for sale for lack of business. There's plenty of business there. So, does that answer the question?
Yep,
Thank you.
It sure does. Thank you. Okay, Mary Lou would like to rebuttal.
No, did not mean that Kettle House was not having a proper business. I think they just got tired, and running a restaurant itself would be very tiring. But the people used to be, and I still think they still are impulse buyers. And they see something that looks good, and they want to go back and check it out, and they can't find a parking place. And I think that was part of the problem with the Kettle House, too. The only place to park was on 6th Avenue, and you could lose a car door on that place.
Thank you. So somehow, we're almost out of time. Unfortunately, our time here is coming to an end. We would like to provide an opportunity for each candidate to provide closing remarks, and we will begin with Nick.
Okay, I just want to start by addressing the debt issue because that came up over and over and over again. There are opinions and there's reality. And the reality is that our city is in great financial shape. There are 3 cities in Iowa that have a better bond rating than Marion. Only 3 cities in Iowa. Marion is in an elite group of cities that have a great bond rating, which means we get the lowest interest rates. And when times are going very well, this is when we can't squander the opportunities. We have to take this opportunity now while things are going well to build the amenities and the infrastructure that we need to sustain us going forward. And a city of 40,000 or 41,000 people can handle comfortably more debt than when we were 20,000 people. So I think there's some people that expect us to have the same debt as we did when it was 10 or 20,000 people. We are at 43% of our debt capacity. We can afford to borrow up to $124 million. But we try to maintain it at a steady rate around 43% of our total capacity. So that answers that question. I have 15 seconds left. I think, as I said, my record speaks for itself. This job does take a lot of time, but I'm happily doing it. I feel like it's exactly where I should be. I feel like I'm making an impact in the community, and I really appreciate the voters giving me that opportunity to serve the community and to offer my time for the community. I love Marion, and my only goal and my only agenda is to see Marion thrive and be a great place to live. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Lou, final remarks?
I have a question for Nick before my time starts.
Okay.
Do you remember when they did that small census back in, 2015 maybe? And because of the additional population, Marion received more than $1 million. And we suggested, you and I said, put this aside for a water treatment plant, and whatever happened to that $1 million? I mean, $1 million is $1 million.
It wasn't a one-time payment of $1 million. There's additional money that we were going to get through road use tax and local option sales tax funding over time because of our increased population. So it wasn't like that we got a check for $1 million.
Well, that was my understanding, that it was going to be a lump sum.
No, it just meant that our share of local option sales tax and road use tax dollars that we get from the state would increase because we had more population. And so incrementally, we got more money as that money came in.
Except that the city manager said that he had plans for it. That's why I'm saying,
well,
what happened to it?
Of course, we have a very active budget and lots of needs. Of course, there's plans for how to use money that comes into the city. Okay. We have lots of needs and lots of...
He's rebutting my rebuttal. Now, wait a minute.
Sorry.
Well, in fairness, you did ask him the question. So...
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready, timekeeper? Okay, Marion is composed of more than just retail and uptown businesses. There are neighborhoods of families, 1- and 2-person businesses, a lot of retirees, a lot of elderly. Are their needs and the ways and qualities of life being considered? Marion must keep the small town atmosphere no matter how many people are here. That's what draws the new residents. And it must be on the watch for the snake oil salesman who wants something for nothing and expect the city to pay for everything. And if you're out driving the roundabout on 7th and 7th, and go south on the exit past Country Kitchen, you can salute 3 Pazurs who are veterans.
Thank you very much. I appreciate both of you spending the time on behalf of the Marion Economic Development Corporation and the Marion Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all for attending tonight's forum. Audio from tonight's forum will be available online later tomorrow on the social media outlets of both Marion Economic Development and the Marion Chamber. The job is now up to the voters, you, the voters. Please remember to vote on Tuesday, November 5th. Thank you to our candidates, and thanks to each of you for attending. And I believe we are adjourned. Thank you.